And good evening and welcome to this presentation of Roseville High School Varsity Boys Basketball on EOTSN. It's the Roseville Tigers at home facing off against the #1 team in the CVC, the Whitney Wildcats. Not to mention the only team in which Whitney has been handed an L to in league. Roseville gave Whitney the L back in January, and they beat them at Whitney 71-57. I'm Josh Carson alongside Kill Gibson. We have counting down for you right now, just under a minute 45 to go until we get this game started. Huge game down the stretch. These teams are competing for a playoff spot. And with that, let's go ahead and look at the Sac Joaquin Section 2 Division playoff picture. Right now, it would be Burbank of Sacramento at 22-2 overall, 11-0 in league, sitting at #1. At #2 would be Whitney, who will play out here tonight. They're sitting at 19-4 overall, 9-1 in league. Again, Roseville, the only team to hand Whitney a loss this season in league. And your very own Roseville Tigers would come in at #10 on that overall list at 14-9 overall, 7-3 in league. Right now, they're currently, I believe, tied or one game back of Pondo for the Capital Valley standings. Let's go ahead and look at those right now. They are one game back, Roseville, that is, of Pondo. Whitney sits up top, 9-1. Pondo at 8-2, Roseville 7-3 in third place, and Cosumnes, who Roseville just handed the loss to, 6-4. Here's our national anthem. We'll be back with more stats after this. It's Tigers Wildcats live on EOTSN from the Moeller Gym. And Kale, I think it's a fair statement to say that this is the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, Josh, it really is. You have Whitney, who's 9-1, and you have Roseville, who I believe is
7-3.
7-3. You can't get a better matchup than that. The only other team that I know that has tested Roseville this year is Ponderosa, who handed them a loss at home. It's going to be a hard-fought match all the way through, and it's just going to be a great basketball game.
Yeah, definitely. Taking a look at the Whitney roster, they have a good mix of juniors and seniors, but a couple of these seniors coming in, very similar to what happened in the Roseville situation. A couple of years ago when this class of 2017 were sophomores, Whitney played up a lot of their sophomores onto the varsity team, and there's going to be numerous players from both teams who went through that whole process out there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the whole shebang with pulling up sophomores to varsity is a huge deal. It's more of a building process than it is a we need you on the team, because when those guys are juniors and seniors, they're going to have those key varsity experiences that's going to lead to championships.
Well, that's what Roseville's looking out here to do tonight, and they have a great chance. Like we said, we'll run over the Sac Joaquin Section Division II playoff standings. As of today, Whitney would be #2 at 19-4 overall, 9-1 in league. Roseville would come in at 10th, 14-9 overall, 7-3 in league. Now, in terms of the teams that make it in, I believe Roseville would make it into that. And, you know, this is just such a big game for them tonight because Whitney's coming out here tonight looking for revenge. I mean, they've gone through 10 games. Their only loss, you know, you thought maybe to Pondo, who's second, but no, it was to Roseville, and it was at their own gym. So I expect Whitney to come out of the gates hot here tonight, and I think this is going to be a really, really tough game for Roseville to win. This is the biggest game of their season besides the Pondo game at Pondo which will come up by the end of the year. But if Roseville can get 2 games on the league leader, I mean, that is so huge going into playoffs.
Yeah, Josh, Roseville, if they want to have it, they're already pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot, but to get into playoffs, I think they need to win out. They need to get this win at home, and they need to beat Ponderosa on the road in order for them to go to playoffs.
All right, Nate Richardson will jump it with Spencer Bennett. And personally, speaking from experience, everyone on the floor right now for Whitney, except number 23, Matt Willis, I have played either with or against before in my career of basketball. So I have good knowledge of this team. I know what they like to do. Jay Sean Lewis, he drives in. That shot's no good. And a 3-pointer by Porras, in which I played with at Cooley Middle School, no good. Now they have him listed at 5'6". That's very generous. I think you give him a 5'3" up there. But yeah, 5'6" rating on Max Preps here. Very generous for the height there. But anyway, we'll have Mancha up top now, and he swings it to Richardson, and they get it inside, but Jay Sean Lewis jumped the path. Down low to Edwards, and the easy 2. If Roseville can get some easy buckets, it'll help them out tonight. Here's Porras. He drives inside, and he finds an open Lewis in the corner for 3, and that one's good. Lewis last year was not able to play in the game at Roseville. I believe he was out with an injury, so he is getting to play here at Roseville for the first time in a couple of years. Mancha will try to drive left, get inside, but the long arm Spencer knocked it away, but Mancha still has his knack of finding Nate Richardson inside. We saw that 4 times last game against Cosumnes Oaks.
Yeah, we did. One of them came from Edwards, and another one, I believe, came from Mancha. Just that easy kick, bounce pass into the key from those guys to Richardson, and Richardson puts it up off the glass.
And here we go now with Whitney inside. And they get the rebound. Ball fought for. You know, Nate Richardson, we've been talking about him a lot lately, Kale. But, you know, he has to be a huge factor in this game, and I think he's got to be that factor that wasn't really expected coming in. I don't think that he's someone that Whitney really game planned for coming into this year, because he wasn't one of those standby players that, you know, was always playing around the area. I didn't see him much until he started playing at Roseville High School. So this is somebody that could really come out the dark here and do something good for Roseville.
Yeah, Richardson was cut from the 7th grade basketball team in middle school, came back, made the 8th grade team, and unfortunately sustained an injury his freshman year. He had a broken leg, so he was not able to play. And he was eventually healthy his sophomore year and came back sophomore year and was a key factor for the JV team under Coach Ritter. And he's just been a huge factor on varsity.
That's great analysis, Kale. Thank you for that backstory. Now, here he is inside, but the long arms of Jay Sean Lewis and Bennett were able to block that one away, and here comes Porras now. Feeds Lewis trailing, and he's fouled by Mancha, lefty on lefty. And number 5 will get himself 2 shots. Well, if you want to look at this lineup here, and in terms of the experience, we talk about it all the time for Roseville. A lot of these players were playing with each other in middle school. A lot of them went to Buljan. Well, if you look at Whitney, it's really the other way around in terms of, you know, at least the school that they went to. In terms of the comp set they're playing together, really similar. A lot of them have been playing at Granite Oaks Middle School and played YBA in AAU. And that includes Porras, who played YBA, Jay Sean Lewis, Josh O'Hara, who's about to check into the game now for Whitney. So these guys have experience playing with each other all leading up to this moment, Kale. I mean, really, all of that in, you know, the really young, you know, middle school years and everything. That is a culmination to be the very best you could be at this moment, because this is it for them. They're seniors.
Yeah, and I mean, everything that Granucci has put forth with pulling up Edwards, Mancha, Granucci, people like that, and on to varsity, and pulling up Cirencione even, has all come to this year.
Mancha, oh, that's good passing right there by Roseville. The back pass to Granucci, who feeds it off to Edwards for the deuce. And it's 6-5.
Yeah, that's what Roseville's done really good this year, Josh. That easy feed into the key and put it up off the glass. It's not so much the outside shooting. It's more of the making the extra pass.
And we have a problem with the shot clock here. They're going to put 27 to 32 seconds. Edwards thought about the three, but feeds it to Russell in the corner, going against. It's YBA on YBA. A lot of these players out there played that back in the day. And now we have a foul on the dish to Richardson inside. Inside, Edwards. And that one gets blocked away. So Whitney's inserted some of their juniors now into the game here. Skip to the corner. Back cut. And the floater, good right there by Noah Samuelski.
Josh, you can tell that's pure skill right there. You can tell that he's worked on that in practice. That skill does not come easy.
Corner three by Edwards. Can't get it to go down.
Josh, we've seen in the last couple of games that Edwards has struggled to hit threes beyond the arc.
Well, I'd say, Kale, to kind of combat that, I would say real consistently, his three-point ability has been there, but it's gone in spurts.
Yeah. They really need him to get hot right now. That's really key for them.
And here's Cirencione. He'll be working on Samuelski up top. Tries to drive in, but Whitney's defense is right there. Whitney sitting out there in the 2-3 zone. They try to feed it into Richardson, but cramming it down low too much. They're eventually going to pick up on that. Leads to a turnover. And here we go now with Samuelski, and he feeds it to the wing. O'Hara unable to flip it up and in, going baseline. Edwards for three, squares up and knocks it down. Big time shot early in this game.
Yeah.
Edwards and Granucci are going to have to hit those threes tonight.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, those threes get you so many points if you keep scoring them consistently. I mean, the game against, I believe it was against Bella Vista when Granucci and Edwards both went off for threes. They had like a 20-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and that's what they need tonight against Whitney.
I mean, Kale, we're talking about the number 2 ranked team in all of the Sac Joaquin Section 2, Division 2. I mean, so Roseville's got to play, I would say, an almost near-perfect game.
Yeah, they got to play near-perfect game. They got to minimize the fouls, and they got to minimize the turnovers. People like Del Rosario have to drive to the basket, as well as Cirencione, who does a really good job of driving into the basket as well.
You know, that's a good look right there by Cirencione to Del Rosario for a big three. He could have easily right there tried to force it into Nate Richardson, who was open for a second, but he said, you know what, let me take my time and feed it out to Del Rosario. Seeing that happen in real time was real good, but they give the shot right back on the other end. It's a 3 for a 2, but two-pointer still goes down by Jay Sean Lewis.
Yeah, Josh, and we noticed that on the defense, Whitney's being able to score because the defense, like I said in the past couple of games, the defense isn't spread. They're all clumped up, and they're letting those guys on the outside take those shots. Now, I'm not saying you need to contest those shots every time, but I'm saying every once in a while those shots need to be contested.
Well, anytime a player drives hard into the paint, you got to have bodies there ready to contest that shot every time. And if you can close out on three-point shooters every time, I mean, that's ideal. (12-11) early. Roseville leads. And not for long. Inside, that's David Owens, 6'3" senior. Puts the layup down and now deflected out of bounds.
Josh, we see Esparza coming in the game, the sophomore who's pulled up at the beginning of the season. He's also pulled up as a sophomore to play under Coach Ritter. Or a freshman, excuse me.
Yep. Bullet pass. Cirencione Boy, if players like Cirencione can hit those threes tonight, boy, that would be a huge help.
Yeah, it would. Players like Cirencione, Del Rosario.
You know, guys you don't expect to hit a bunch of threes in games, you know.
Hedger, people like that who can hit threes consistently.
Inside, Matt Willis lost the ball, and here comes Cirencione, and he spins and gets it stripped. And Lewis now controls for Whitney. And he drives in, drives right. Inside to David Owens. Yeah, Jay-Sean Lewis using that 6'2" frame of his to create that one. Going against a smaller Del Rosario in terms of height. And here comes Granucci. Man, he is pestered up top with hands on him. Whitney just being a menace on the defensive end of the court. They give it back to Roseville down 15-12 with 1:17.
And Whitney's going to do that to them. They're going to put pressure on the offense, and the offense hasn't really seen that. They've just seen mainly zone defenses where teams kind of lay off a little bit, and those shots on the outside aren't contested as much.
Whitney in the zone, but they're in a hard zone. They're hedging everything up top, not letting Roseville breathe. That's big right there. You know what? Tommy Edwards with a bomb from downtown over Porras. But you know what? If you're going up against 5'3" and you're a 6'4" Edwards, you got to shoot over him.
Yeah. I mean, when you're 6'4", even 6 foot, and you can able to shoot over guys, it's so key and it's so helpful for your offense.
Use that advantage. I'm saying it. Del Rosario gets inside, flips it up with the right, just a little bit too out of control. And a travel by David Owens as he came down with it. So Whitney gives up a potential scoring possession back to Roseville with 33 seconds in the first quarter. And here we go now up top with Justin Crafton. We got 10 seconds remaining in the period. Corner three ball is good. Big shot right there by Shara. And the senior 6'5" busts a three at the end of the quarter to make it 20-15. And we'll go into the second. The 5-point lead for the visiting team trying to avenge a 71-57 loss against Roseville at home in January. And here we go, starting the second quarter now, 20-15. Cirencione in the corner, kicks it out to Del Rosario up top. And now he'll be guarded by Sherrod, backed by Porras now. And Granucci mans with it up top. Del Rosario drives right, inside. Good finish. Roseville's got to be able to capitalize on those opportunities. Easy inside, created by the guards.
Yeah, really good finish there by, I believe it was Edwards, who just drove into the basket, got the feed, and put it up off the glass.
Del Rosario, who created that last play, fouls on this one.
And Josh, I'm going to keep saying it, Roseville has to minimize the fouls in this game if they want to keep in it.
Porras, and he'll take the high screen by Bennett. Wow, they just leave him for three. That was terrible on part of Roseville's defense, but they get away with it. Cirencioni drives in, does not get the call. And here's the push by Whitney on the fast break. Only one man to beat. Inside, Shara can't hit it, and that was Granucci.
Josh, part of me doesn't agree with this offense that Coach Granucci, this defense that Coach Granucci has the Tigers running right now, where they flood all the guys to the middle to try and stop the drive. But what that does is that leaves guys open on the arc and on the three-point line, and they can just take those shots all day long.
Well, I'll tell you, Kel, from my playing experience, even if your defensive game plan is stop penetration, the ball is the most important. So if you're guarding the ball, you got to be up on the ball.
Yes, the ball is the most important.
You can't ever just leave somebody open because you're trying to stop lane penetration. I mean, you're guarding the ball. That is your guy. That is your number one priority. 22-17 now after the score by Whitney. Russell drives over the trees, flip shot, no good. He almost tracks down Shara on the backcourt to steal it. Shara has it, just launches for three. Net, that's good. Outside, that's a bomb from downtown. He's got a reservation downtown, and he booked it on the fadeaway three right there. And Adam Shara, the captain, wing senior at 6'5", has buried a couple triples in this game to make it 25-17. Kale, Roseville obviously on a negative run right now. The spurt not good for them.
Yeah.
What do they got to do to turn it around? Number one thing you see.
They need to play better defense. The defense needs to pick it up. They need to start contesting shots, and they need to start contesting shots on the outside, and they need to start getting better lane penetration. They need to start flooding the middle more, I think. I know I'm contradicting myself here, but they need to, when a guy drives to the middle, they need to flood the lanes, and they need to get that guy stopped so that way they can get the defensive rebound.
Josh Carson alongside Kill Gibson, Connor McKibben working the computer tonight on EOTSN. 7-3 Roseville, 9-1 Whitney. Whitney trying to even the season series. Now Roseville's going to need big contributions out of these main two players, Granucci and Edwards, but a player like that, Hedger, if he could hit a three, it'd be big. A couple of big shots from the outside. Get a contribution for guys you normally don't get it from. Granucci drove in, and he got fouled right there.
Good foul by Granucci. He saw the lane that was open in the middle, and he took it, and he got fouled. And now Roseville gets the ball back, and they get a second opportunity to try and score. Good foul.
Tyler Austin fouled him, and Granucci thought that was on the shot, but not selling it enough for the refs. Three-pointer outside Granucci, in and out. And now down the court, and that one gets knocked out of bounds off of Whitney. And Roseville will control with 5:43, down by 8. First half. And here's Russell working against. He's working against Matt Willis out there. And now here's a three-pointer for Granucci up top. And that one is nothing but the bottom.
That's the Sean Granucci we all know and love. The one who can hit the clutch threes when it really matters.
Well, what's big time about that, got himself to the open spot and knocked it down, and that's a timeout for Whitney now, 25-20. Cuts the lead to 5.
However, Josh, 1-3 is not going to do it for them. They need to start hitting those threes consistently and start to really get those points, and they need to do a better job on defense.
Out of the timeout now. Edwards picks up the ticky-tack foul down there on the baseline.
Now, Josh, it's not even the big fouls that Roseville needs to cut out. It's those small fouls. Reaching, putting out a leg, not moving with your guy that causes them to get their body in front of them. It's things like that Roseville needs to cut out, and they need to start picking up their game.
Well, more than what it cost them in the present. There's a three right there. more than what it costs them in the present is, you know, a potential foul out of one of their main players. They can't have really any of their main players in foul trouble.
Yeah, true. I mean, imagine if someone like Edwards fouled out of the game. Who would replace him?
It'd be really hard to win the game after that point. Obviously, you don't want to get to that point. Granucci comes off of the screen for three, and he is hacked, and will get 3 shots. Whitney coach French not happy about that one. Nick French, Whitney coach, Greg Granucci's coach of the Varsity Tigers, but obviously not happy about that one because Granucci had landed. And, you know, the rule is when you're shooting the 3-point jump shot, you got to give the offensive player room to land. You can't stand under him or anything like that. And so the reason why Coach French of Whitney was mad about that call is Granucci went up, landed, and then got pushed. And so he felt like, you know, that shouldn't have been a foul because he gave him space to land. It was just he couldn't stop his momentum, the Whitney defender that is, from going into Granucci. But anyway, the questionable call will lead to at least a point here on this free throw trip.
Yeah, and that's a conflicted call, too, because it could have gone either way, but ultimately it's the ref's decision on whether it was a foul or not. And you have to respect what the ref says because they're in charge of the game.
Well, and it's all up to the players to sell it, too. I mean, this isn't the acting business out here, but the more you can make it look like you got hit, that you got knocked down big time, then you might get the call. It's just what it is. Drive inside it. Well, that's a strong move right there by Justin Kraft, the crafty point guard, junior.
Yeah, and Josh, like I said, Roseville needs to start closing those gaps, but they also need to start contesting those threes. In the second quarter, we've seen Whitney take more threes.
27-22. Here goes Kraft again. Roseville is just a hair away from letting this game slip away. You just get that feeling about a game. You know, they're only down by 5, but they need to keep this close because Whitney can explode at any time. Well, Granucci was getting hacked, but they did not give him the call there. Russell with the steal in the backcourt, feeds to Granucci. Nice ball fake, but he missed the layup, got it back, and put it up and in. So Jason will be happy either way, even though, you know, he probably would have preferred the assist. Inside, and Kraft just threw that one way too hard for Owens, and now here goes Russell with a nice feed up to Edwards on the wing, and he will look to the opposite side. It's a running mancha, it's a fake inside, and it's a pass that's tipped out of bounds, intended for Richardson, his favorite target.
Good idea for Mancha to go to Richardson. I mean, Richardson, he hasn't gotten the ball a lot in this game, but whenever he gets the ball, Josh, good things happen, and he'll just put it up off the glass all day long.
27-24, 3:42 to go in the second. Whitney in control of the lead. Here's Russell. And Whitney in a man-on-man defense now. No movement for Roseville. Really wonder what they're trying to do here. They were looking for Granucci on some type of kick-up or back cut. Edwards is triple-teamed. He puts it up. Can't get it to go. That's just a bad offensive possession right there for Roseville.
I believe Roseville is running something where everybody was constantly moving.
Three-pointer by Josh O'Hara, and he rips cord from out there.
Josh, they're down by 6. Nothing's really happening. Roseville's at a stalemate right now with themselves, not being able to score, not being able to contain Whitney on offense.
Yeah, they need a run. They need a run, and what they need to do is get some stops, too. Because, yeah, in this type of game where it's kind of it takes the energy out of the crowd, the home crowd, you don't get the energy behind you, it totally favors the road team. This is the position that they want you in.
Yeah, and this is not a position you want to be in at the home team. You don't want to be down by 6 on your home floor. That's never a good thing.
Well, it's never good to be down, but at least they're only down by 6 and not 16. Definitely an improvement from last year when we saw these two teams, and it was an early, I believe, 22-6 lead or something like that.
Yeah.
And so, hey, 30-24 on EOTSN, 2:51 to go in the first half. And we will be back after the timeout break. Well, hey, you can join us again on Friday night when Roseville plays their final home game of the season. It'll be senior night for the class of 2017, which so heavily makes up this roster. They play Oakmont 7 o'clock on EOTSN. Catch it live. IVeTigerNews.com and I've the Tiger live streams YouTube channel. Whitney Roseville right now, and Jay-Sean Lewis drives inside, misses that layup, and here comes Del Rosario now against Boris, and he passes off to Cirencione, drives. Richardson right there, man. Richardson just likes to get to the right spots at the right times, and he's in there yet again for the layup.
Yeah. Like I said, Josh, once Richardson gets in the key and right by the glass, once they feed it to him, he just puts it up off the glass and easy points.
Making for himself a successful young high school career. Josh O'Hara with the spin move inside, and when you're 5'3", you got to be crafty.
Josh, like I said, they're still at a stalemate. They're still down by 6, and about 2 minutes has passed. They need to come up with something. They need to hit a big 3 right now.
Del Rosario 3, nope. 32-26. Jay-Sean Lewis has that right side to work with. Kicks it up to O'Hara, who drives back out to Lewis in the corner. Looking for a cutter across the paint, but can't find him there. He's going to take him baseline. Spins, pivots, Porras up top.
Good defense there by Cirencione.
Here's O'Hara now. He drives right. Inside, kick out to Jay-Sean Lewis. Pushes off, steps back, 3, no. And Richardson battles in there. Corrals the board, kicks it to Cirencione. Cirencione now pestered in the backcourt by Lewis, and they got to get it up before that 10-second call, and they do. Del Rosario now to Cirencione, and they'll look to run the play with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Cirencione. And Jay-Sean Lewis got in there. Well, Kel, you look at these two teams, definitely different in terms of, well, just about everything. Whitney, a fairly young, new school. I believe just about 10 years ago they were established.
Yeah.
Roseville been around for, what, 104 years?
104.
The success early for Whitney. Roseville still looking to find it in basketball with this team.
Yeah, about 104 years, 105 years. Whitney was built back in the year, I believe, 2006. So fairly new school, but getting off to a great start here for in the first half.
Edwards cuts the gap to 4. Porras up top. 9-second difference. Game clock and shot clock. Up top now. Nate Richardson will try to stay in front of Austin, who eventually got inside and got himself an and one with the skillful move to get to the basket. And you could put it in the book and send him to the line, a chance for one more in the three-point play.
Josh, about 1:30 has passed, and it's still a 6-point lead for the Wildcats.
They're playing back and forth right now, which for the losing team isn't good.
No, it's not. They just waste time off the clock, and it's less time that you have to catch up.
So far, Roseville, though, with a decent first half. It's not like they dug themselves a huge hole here. They were able to keep it competitive.
It's been decent, but it's not the best. We've seen better.
Edwards inside while he lost it, got it back, almost flipped it in, and that's going to be it. End of the half. 34-28, Whitney. And we'll go into halftime on EOTSN, and we'll be back with some first half notes at the end of the halftime here, and we'll get started for the second half. It should be really great as we have a huge matchup on our hands here tonight in Moeller Gym.
Takes it to Edwards, and Edwards scores for 2. Whitney, series of drives. Goes back out to the three-point line to reset. Drives in off the wing. Picked off by Russell. Russell takes it up the court and is fouled. And Roseville will get the ball. Russell with the ball. Looking for a pass. Pass it to Granucci. And Granucci is fouled. And Roseville will get the ball.
Okay, Kel. I'm back on the mic now. Josh Carson alongside Kel Gibson for EOTSN. In the second half, 36-32, Whitney leads. Three-pointer in the corner. Man, this guy all night has been cooking it up out there. Adam Shara, just another one.
Josh, the Tigers need to start contesting Shar on the outside now. He's proved time and time again that he can make those shots.
And Granucci drives. Will get himself to the line for a couple of shots. 7-point lead. Kel, it seemed like the margin has been just about this. 6-7 points all game. Roseville got to start making a run with stops and scores.
Yeah, I mean, the Tigers really need to get hot right now, and nothing seems to be working for them. I think they need to call a timeout when it gets closer to the end of the third quarter, and they need to figure out what they're going to do for the fourth.
Well, currently it's 6:13. Still a lot of time to go here in this third. And it's 39-34. Here comes Porras. And he's working against Russell up top. Swings it over to Willis. And Willis drives against Granucci, and the junior gets the score. Matt Willis, known for his prolific three-point shooting. So far, haven't seen that much out of him tonight from outside. And Granucci traveled. When you got Jay-Sean Lewis, 6'2", with a long wingspan flying out at you like that, hard to get up that shot, and that's where the ball fake comes in right there.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad part on Granucci for actually going up, but I think he had the right idea in getting the ball fake and then going around. Just a minor error.
Lewis inside and one, and Whitney starting to pull away a little bit here. They could get a double-digit lead for the first time tonight with this free throw.
Yeah, the Tigers are down by 9, Josh. They're really going to need something to help them out here.
We've seen Jay-Sean Lewis go to work tonight with a pull-up three-point game and getting to the rim. And he converts on the three-point play. Obviously, making up for the time that he missed last year, unable to play this game due to injury. And obviously, I think the bigger picture here, Whitney trying to make up for the loss that they had to Roseville.
Yeah. You could tell that Whitney came out here fired up, ready to go, and the Tigers kind of came out kind of slow. And it's still showing from the first half. They haven't really figured out what their game plan is.
Well, I really think, Kel, I haven't seen, as there's a three-pointer from outside, wow, just in the face by Sam Mulski. I haven't seen a ton of really bad out of Roseville. I just seen a better Whitney team play out here tonight. Roseville just not unable to match them. And the fact that they were the only team to beat them early in the year, I mean, that obviously doesn't bode well for Whitney coming into this game. because they're going to take it out on Roseville.
Yeah, Roseville has not done terrible tonight. I mean, they've been able to get some really good plays going. It's just a matter of Whitney's done better. Whitney's gotten more of those plays. They've been able to convert on the two-pointers. They've been able to convert on the bounce passes to the glass, when Roseville hasn't. That's just been the key factor in this game.
There Rosario now. And Roseville will play behind 11. There Rosario in the corner for 3. That one hit the top of the backboard. And now we have a foul on Roseville.
Josh, it's fouls like that that the Tigers really need to like cut out and get rid of. It's things like reaching over the top, putting your leg out, putting your arm out. Those little fouls that cause the team to get the ball and another chance to score. It's things like that that just don't make basketball. I mean, yes, it's all part of the game, but I mean, you don't want that when you're down by 11 points. You need to get the steal. You need to get the ball back.
Now we have senior guest on the Eye of the Tiger live stream, Sam Toomey, just coming from volleyball tryouts. Now, you haven't been here the whole game, but what have you witnessed out of the couple minutes that you've been here?
I've seen some good shooting at Whitney so far. I mean, just to clarify that I've only been seeing this game for like 2 minutes, so I don't have a huge angle on this game, but it seems like Whitney's been making a lot of threes at a high percentage, and just their offense is cooking right now.
Well, Kel, to be honest, the reason why is there's an and one by Sam Mulesky. Whitney's starting to impose their will. The reason why I went to Sam there is I wanted to see if he noticed something just in the few minutes that has been a trend the whole game, and it really has been. The shooting from Whitney, out shooting Roseville, and now really starting to pile on.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the factor in the entire game tonight. Whitney's just been a better shooting team. Roseville hasn't been able to capitalize on all of their shots. They've gotten wide open shots, it's just they don't go in. Edwards has gotten some good looks. Granucci's gotten some good looks.
Speaking of Edwards, there's a three right there downtown, so he bangs that one in.
Splash.
And one right back at him, the Yuki area.
And Josh, that's a momentum change. As soon as we think the momentum is starting to shift toward Roseville, Whitney comes right back with the and one to switch the momentum.
You're really inexcusable after hitting a three that could have provided momentum to just give him a quick and one. You know, you notice just the pace out of Whitney.
Yeah.
They really play at a fast pace. That is what Coach Nick French preaches into his players. This is their system. They run, they go fast, and that's why they're ranked number 2 in the whole Sac-Waukegan Division II standings right there. They go fast and they capitalize.
And that's a good thing, too. You want a fast-paced offense. And Roseville's defense is not as fast-paced as their offense. They can't keep up with them.
Well, Nate Richardson just keeps doing work down low. You know, the way the game is going today, Kale, fast-paced offenses really dominate. You know, the slow, grinded-out type offenses, they don't really bode well anymore.
No, they're not. The way that basketball as a sport is changing is teams are starting to put more energy into their offense and not laid back as it used to. I mean, back when I was in middle school, offenses would take their time, they would set up, they would run the plays, and they would run the offense like a normal offense. Nowadays, it's more of the fast breaks and the long passes, and it's just really changing the game of basketball, and I think it's for the better.
Yeah, I like watching the fast-paced game the way it's played today with a lot more outside shooting. You know, but you go back and I've asked plenty of players and just fans from the era of, even going back to the 90s, but, you know, the kind of the 80s pounded inside, grinded out era. You know, I've asked a lot of those people, and they say, no, that's the best era. So I guess it depends on, you know, what the time that you live in when you were young. Because when you were young, obviously, it's better because that's when you were young. But, you know, how it is now, I think it's really exciting to watch this fast-paced play with a lot of outside shots, and I think that's a lot of skill. I think it takes more skill, honestly, instead of just backing somebody down with pure strength. it takes more skill to hit a three-point jumper on the run. I mean, that's just what I feel.
And I mean, a perfect example of this is not relevant to the game, but a perfect example of this is the Golden State Warriors from the NBA. Their type of offense is what's being ingrained into these young kids in middle school, and even the hot shots in the AAU and the YBA leagues. Is the fast type of offense is more effective.
Tyler Austin gets the and one, and yeah, it's good to see players like, Steph Curry looks like he could be your neighbor, but he's out there able to make a big name for himself, looking the way that he does, and you no longer have to be the huge, ginormous freak athlete in order to be an extremely successful and one of the best players in the league. Now, the only thing where that could go wrong is these teams are trying to play fast like Whitney. You got to have players that are able to do it. Because you got these young kids coming into the gym as Edwards launches the three, no good. You got these young players coming into the gym thinking they could just put up threes like Steph Curry. I mean, you're not Steph Curry. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. But when you got a team like Whitney who's skilled enough to run fast and be able to hit some higher level of difficulty shots on the run, then you let them go ahead and do that.
Yeah, you do. And I mean, part of that is the fact that they've just practiced this over and over and over and over again.
This is probably what their practice looks like every day. Fast pace.
Scrimmaging and scrimmaging.
Well, I've personally heard a lot of the Whitney practices. I know we can't really release a ton of details on practices, but they do a lot of shooting. And I think more schools should do that. They should shoot that rock a lot more, practice their shooting a lot more.
I've been to a couple of the Roseville practices, getting footage of their practices and stuff for the show, and I've noticed that they don't put a whole lot of emphasis on shooting. Yeah. They're more focused on their defense and the guarding and the man defense in the zone, and they put more of their emphasis on that, and they spend about a half an hour of practice. Now, I don't know. This is just my guess. I bet they spend about a half an hour of practice time just solely devoted to shooting, and I think you need to put a little bit more emphasis on the shooting aspect, especially after tonight, Josh.
54-41. Of course, defense is the most important. Roseville, a scrappier team, and that's just who they are. And here we go now with Hedger Hill inbound. And Edwards, he's one of the better shooters on this team. Him and Granucci are going to have to make a run starting now because there's 8 minutes in the fourth. And they got to capitalize. Roseville's got to win this last minute 40. Edwards up top, and he is going to go over and back with it.
Roseville not off to a good start with this minute and 40, like you said. I mean, they had a backcourt violation, and Whitney gets the ball, and it's just not looking good for the Tigers right now.
I don't know what team Whitney was the night that they lost to Roseville back in January.
I don't either.
On a Wednesday night. I don't know if they had a dance that weekend. I'm just guessing because they had, pictures of each player's head up on the wall. I think it was some type of celebration going on over there, and sometimes that could throw teams out of complete mental focus. I don't know. That's complete, I guess, some guesses. A three-pointer, but they just look locked in tonight. And Roseville, they're probably thinking, wow, we beat this team right now. 57-41. Whitney just keeps on widening the gap.
But you can't dwell on the past, though. You have to be in the present. You have to be in this game. And the Tigers just look disunified right now. They don't look like they want to be here. They don't look like they want to play basketball, but somehow they're keeping it together. And that's just what kind of team Roseville is. Even when they're not unified, they're still a good team. Imagine what they can do when they're all on the same page and they're all doing what they're supposed to do.
And, Kel, I got to make another comment. I haven't seen, as there's a turnover right there, and I'm about to make this comment, but inside, layup no good. I haven't seen a whole lot of bad, like a whole lot of really bad from Roseville tonight. I just seen a lot of really, really good from Whitney. And it's hard to match. Sometimes a team just outplays you. That's what we've seen so far through three quarters.
Yeah, they're not a bad team. I just haven't seen the Tigers that we've seen all the rest of the season.
Three-pointer right there by Edwards, and we'll see if he can start to get something going. It's a 13-point game with 45 seconds to go in the third quarter.
That was a big three there by Edwards to lower the gap.
All gets inside, no good. And Richardson will have it. Shot clock is turned off. They could go for one, but Edwards says, why not? Let it fly and knock it down. Edwards, 2 in a row.
2 threes in a row right there, Josh. That's a big one.
Roseville wants to go into this fourth with momentum. Edwards providing it to him. Here's Arai up top, and now it will be Samuelski controlling for Whitney.
10-point game, Josh. This went from a 16-point game to a 13-point game to a 10-point game.
The power of the three ball. Samuelski, wow. Where was the defense by Jake Hedger on that play?
It wasn't there.
Where's the... Wow, Roseville just stopped playing. Wow, 14-point deficit. Wow, Kale, what we just saw there is Josh O'Hara get the steal. We saw him get the steal, throw it up because he was not aware that there was 3 seconds left on the game clock. He threw it up, and right in there for the rebound, Tyler Austin. And Edwards, I mean, I got to call him out here because he did not even step in bounds to play. Yeah, Kel, Edwards, I think the whole Roseville team just quit playing on that last one. 2 unfortunate buckets to give up at the end. They're back to back.
Yeah, that's just.
And that basically, really quick, that basically negates the 2 threes by Edwards. I mean, give or take 2 points right there.
Pretty much nullifies it right there.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty much for nothing now because they're down by how many? 13? 14?
14 now.
I mean, granted, there's nothing you can do when a team gets a steal, but I mean, you got to be smart with the basketball. You can't just that thing is like bread and butter. You need to take care of the basketball. You need to do what you need to do. You need to get the job done, and you go home with a dub.
You know, it's just the type of hustle play right there that winning teams make. Whitney so far, winning team. But Roseville can do a lot in 8 minutes.
You just see that Roseville's just gotten these turnovers too. These lame turnovers, like traveling and up and downs and tripping and reaching and stuff like that. That stuff loses basketball games for you. In basketball, it's not the big fouls that lose basketball games. It's the little fouls.
Okay, they're officially going to reset the game clock to 8 minutes. And we'll have a fresh start to the fourth. Samuelski up top. Out there with Arai. Granucci checks in.
Yeah, we see Granucci come back in the game for Del Rosario. So we got Edwards, Esparza, Granucci, Mancha, and Hedger out on the court right now. I think that's a good 5 right there.
See what they can do. Arai drives in. Roseville really hasn't been able to stop penetration tonight.
No, they have
just
not.
As I say it right there, inside bucket by Tyler Austin.
Yeah, this should have been cleaned up a long time ago, Josh. That penetration in the middle, that should have been discussed in the first quarter.
Edwards is feeling it. He's got the hot hand right now. Another downtown bomb right there by Edwards. 63-50. And when you feel it, I say ride the hot hand. Ride that wave.
Yeah.
Here's Hedger. Arai definitely pushed off, but he gets away with it, and he gets by him now. But he drives into an offensive, oh, they're going to call travel. Either way, Granucci was there, and I definitely believe he took the charge.
Yeah, I think he took the charge too. I mean, that was a really hard hit from Granucci. If that wasn't a charge, I don't know what is anymore. I mean, the charge foul is not called that often anymore, Josh. It's become distant. Like, no one's willing to get in front of a defender and take that charge. It's kind of sad.
It's a big attribute to Roseville. Looks like they got something on the ground out there again. The refs are going to attend to it. The second time in this quarter we've seen that green towel come out. Mancha went right into Willis right there. And Nick French, coach of Whitney, is not going to be happy about that. Looks like an offensive push-off by Mancha got away with it. 11-point game.
Yeah,
Porous inside man. You cannot stop this little man inside. Little man, big heart. Dial up one in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, and those little guys in basketball, like you said, people like Steph Curry, they've changed the game so much.
Well, if you look at little guy, Porus, Isaiah Thomas is probably his hero right now. Here's Mancha steal. Hedger has a fast break, and they got to convert on stuff like this.
Yeah.
And a foul on Justin Kraft. And Hedger will go to the line for two. Down by 13, 6:24 to go. Hedger can't connect on the first. And the score stays the same, 65-52.
13-point lead for the Wildcats. 12-point lead now.
All right, so this is where, we've been saying this so much. They got to start chipping in.
Yeah, they got to start. They got to kick the back burners in right now if they even want a chance to win this ball game.
Got to get this under double digits.
For them, if they can get it under double digits by the 5-minute mark, I think that's pretty good. That gives you 5 minutes to catch back up, lower the lead, maybe even tie it up.
Mancha just doing it himself. But Esparza can't finish. I think this is where you got to put Richardson in. Richardson would have been a done deal right there inside.
Yeah. If I was Coach Canucci, I would put Richardson in right now, call a timeout, change up the lineup, discuss the defense, assess the situation.
Yeah, you just got 2 straight stops right there, and you got to be able to capitalize on every opportunity. Miss layups, and here we go, on demand. Nate Richardson comes back into the game now.
Yeah, here we go.
For Esparza. See, Kale, you know what? We know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta assess the situation.
Tyler Austin kicks to the corner to Shara. Just likes to spot up. Willis, stolen by Nate Richardson. Jump ball, Roseville has the possession arrow. .5:39 to go on EOTSN. Roseville Whitney for the second time this year. Whitney trying to avenge the loss that they suffered in January, 71-57 on their home court. Porus and O'Hara out there, Justin Kraft, Shara, and you got Jay-Sean Lewis out there for Whitney as well. Jay-Sean jumps right in Edwards' face, and he can't hit that three. Real good defense out there on the contest.
Good take by Edwards right now. If I would pick anybody to shoot threes right now, it would be Edwards.
Porus. And 6 fouls to 6 fouls now, so the next one will be 1-1. And now Porus and O'Hara will come out. Tyler Austin and Matt Willis back into the game for Whitney. Here's Jay-Sean Lewis in the post, working and double dribbling. And the ball goes to Roseville.
Josh, this could be huge for Roseville right now. They get the ball back, they maybe could get this game under control, get it to 10.
I think you got to get it to single digits again.
Yeah, you got to get it to single digits. A big three by Edwards right now would be key for them.
Granucci will try it and hit it.
And
rattles it in from
9-point game now.
He rattled that one in from the promised land, and yep, as
that's
Kel
a game
said,
changer
game.
right there, Josh. That's a game changer. You got 5 minutes left under a 9. You got a 9-point lead. Whitney has a 9-point lead.
And the call there goes against Mancha.
The Tigers can really come back here.
And I don't think Mancha has an argument. Mancha was moving.
No.
And whatever he was doing on that play, I mean, he was moving. He wasn't set. So 1-1 for Whitney now. And this is where, you know, Kale, you're talking about the fouls all game. This is where it really matters right here because every foul is going to result in free points potentially for Whitney.
Yeah. Now that we're in bonus, the fouls are going to play a huge factor in this game. I believe that if Roseville can get a lot of and ones, maybe even a 3 and an and one, I mean, you get 1 or 2 shots at the line, you can make a 5-point play out of it. I mean, that cuts your lead in half right there for Whitney. So, I mean, maybe bonus is where the Tigers come and show their true colors. $10-point game.
Yeah, right when Roseville gets that single-digit deficit, it's right back up to double digits again. But it's going to take stops and scores. It's going to take about 5 stops and scores in a row. You got to string these things off. 4:46 to go. Still plenty of time. If Roseville can come back and win this game, it will be, I mean, one of the best games we've ever seen, at least for me. And that's speaking from 4 years of live streaming experience. It will be one of the best games I've ever seen here.
Yeah, it's been a really hard-fought game. Roseville has not done bad. It's just Whitney has done a lot better.
Hedger, able to get by, able to find Richardson. Strength and the muscle.
And he finds the and one. Josh, it's things like that I think is really going to help the Tigers in this game. You get the and ones, and now Richardson gets a shot at the line.
Well, that's why you dial up 34 here in the clutch. Put this man into the game.
It's a 9-point game.
And he completes the and one. That is so huge. 67-59.
Just need to keep stringing together those clutch points.
And I'm surprised at the energy in the building right now. Not extremely high. Oh, that's big. Hedger soars in for that board. And here we go now.
Good rebound by Hedger there. He was there and ready to do it. He saw the read.
Now Roseville looking for a good shot. Mancha kicks it to Granucci. Takes the runner. That was a bad shot.
Yeah, that was a
Jake
bad
Hedger
shot.
wide open in the corner, and you're just waiting for the good shot to come up. And Whitney will almost respond with a 3. Hedger gets another rebound, and Roseville will have another crack at it.
Roseville got really
and he says, let me take it myself. Richardson, oh, he just blew the layup. I don't know if it got blocked, but it was wide open inside. He should have went up with the left hand there.
I believe he
has a tendency of using that right, favoring the right hand inside, and it hurt him right there. Yeah, but Nate Richardson, not many bad things to say about this guy.
No.
He usually finishes on attempts like those.
Yeah, it's very rare to see Richardson miss a layup like that. I don't think I've seen him miss a layup like that all season. But it happens. You're not going to make every single layup. You're not going to make every single shot. You're going to miss a couple. But right now, I think that layup is really going to hurt them. You're down by 8 with about 3 minutes left to go in the game. And you just got to start stringing together points.
Timeout winds down, and this is the time right here where if Roseville really wants to win this game, they'll show it. They'll show it. They'll step up and get this game close because they've got it in striking distance right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's there. It's set out on a silver platter of what they need to do. It's a matter of now whether they can commit and they can get the job done.
So off of the Whitney timeout, they'll inbound from the sideline. Sam Mulski, O'Hara, Jay-Sean Lewis out there with Shara and Tyler Austin. Roseville has Hedger, Mancha, Granucci, Richardson, and Edwards. 3:30 to go. Lewis. That's just a big-time take by a big-time player.
Yeah.
Here's Edwards working against Lewis now, and that's a mano-on-mano matchup. Here we go. Oh, Mancha had it inside to Richardson. I don't know why that pass wasn't able to get through. It just looks like Richardson wasn't expecting it.
And Josh, going back to the defensive perspective, the Tigers really, really need to work on guarding drives to the basket. They've struggled with that all night long.
Mancha. And he will find Jake Hesher. Granucci over to Edwards, and they're looking for a good shot. They don't need to rush here. And Edwards, well, luckily gets it back.
That was forced. That was a forced shot.
Two forces in a row. This is where Roseville has to take their experience and choose the best shot. It's better to get a 2 or 3 up on the board in 30 seconds than nothing in 10 seconds and then give up a bucket on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, you never.
Bad pass.
ever
Oh,
want
here's
that.
Samuelski. He gets the steal and lays it in easy.
It's
And that's just not.
It's a 12-point game right now, Josh. The Tigers can still do it. They need to get this together.
Turnovers like that are not necessary. Granucci gets to the line, fouled by Samuelski. And yeah, just a bad pass to throw it to the half-court timeline right there and just gets it picked off. Granucci hits one.
11-point game now. Let's see if he can make it a 10-point game at least.
.233 to go on EOTSN. 71-61. Roseville won at Whitney 71-57. Obviously, they've given up 14 more points here tonight. Jay Sean. Samuelski fouled. And that's going to be 1-1. The next foul on Whitney will give Roseville 2 shots for every foul. Roseville's 2 away from the double bonus in terms of fouls. Samuelski will go to the line, and with the clock stopped, which is Whitney's enemy right now, a stopped clock, he'll look to stretch the lead anyway.
Josh, like we said, it's like a stalemate. The Wildcats keep scoring while the Tigers don't score, and when the Tigers do score, Whitney comes right back again and scores. It's just back and forth, but Whitney's just been able to maintain the lead ever since the first quarter.
Richardson on the wing, they give him a lot of space. You know, if Nate Richardson can work in the offseason to develop that jumper, it would really help his game. And yeah, wow, Mancha threw it out of bounds. And Roseville, that's a play right there that they wish they had back. Just not making the huge plays at the end of this game, but there's still 2 minutes left. Let's see. They're going to have to put a lot of pressure on O'Hara. You know, the clock is Roseville's enemy right now when it runs because 35-second shot clock, you know Whitney's going to look to use all of that unless they have a wide open shot. And they could just have a couple of 4 sessions of that 35 seconds and the game's over. And they got a foul now. They know Whitney's just going to run clock. And with this big of a lead, it looks like, I don't like to say it's over till it's over, but it looks like Whitney right now in firm control of taking the W. As Jay-Sean Lewis, the player of the game, definitely. He's up into the high double digits in scoring. He's been an impact defensively. You know, stuff that won't appear on the stat sheet in terms of altering shots. But when Edwards was on a hot streak, he altered one of his shots and cooled him down. So Jay-Sean Lewis tonight, star of the night. So Edwards will go to the line for 2. And we're going to see a free throw game back and forth at the end here.
Yeah.
And what Roseville has to do is they got to hope for missed free throws on the end of Whitney. Come down and hit some threes.
Yeah, I mean, you got to hit your free throws. I mean, it's basically free money, but in the form of a basketball, like in the form of points.
Roseville won the first quarter. Whitney has won the other 2. And in the fourth, I believe Whitney's won that as well. You can't really afford that. Well, it's going to have to be a crazy comeback at the end here because it's 73-63 with 1:44 to go. We're going to be seeing a lot of free throws down the stretch. But if anybody could do it, it could be Roseville. They have the players that can go on a huge run and hit a bunch of tray balls. The fact is they just got to hope for some mistakes on the Whitney end from the free throw line.
And based on what we've seen so far, Whitney has not made a lot of mistakes. Yeah, they have 9 fouls, but those have just been little minor fouls, like reaching or something like that. Defensive-wise, the Wildcats have been pretty sound. They've been able to stop the Tigers' offense, and offensively, they've just been on fire. Roseville's defense can't guard the Whitney offense. It's just too fast-paced and too quick for the Roseville defense.
Well, this Whitney offense is a prolific offense. I mean, they got players that can hit all around. Tyler Austin drives in. Adam Shirah has hit 3 to 4 threes tonight. Matt Willis definitely capable of hitting threes. Probably one of the best shooters on this team. Roseville's taken him off the three-point line. He's been able to drive in for some buckets, but Noah Samuelski has come in. The guard, junior, 6'3". He's hit a bunch of shots. And Jay-Sean Lewis obviously just brings him home. Inbound pass to the man himself. O'Hara. Whitney just breaking the press with ease. Very relaxed. You see, Kale, when teams panic against the press, that is one bad thing. That is what the pressing team wants you to do. And you see just right there. You see just right there. Jay-Sean Lewis never panicked. Mancha knocked that ball away from him, Kale. He knocked the ball away from him, and he just slowly ran toward it out of bounds. And Mancha just trucks him in right there. And if they did call a foul, apparently, I don't even know if they called a foul on that.
No, they didn't.
They did not call a foul.
No.
That is blasphemous. That is terrible. That is really terrible. And we are Eye of the Tiger Sports Network here at Roseville High School, and I can say that is terrible. Jay-Sean was running slowly toward the ball, but Mancha completely knocked him out of bounds. Jay-Sean should be at the line for some free throws. But hey.
I agree but disagree.
He's a football player. He could take that. I mean, I guess the refs were saying he was impeding Mancha's process to get the ball because he was going so slow. But anyway, 73 to 63. I still think that was a missed call. Roseville can benefit off of it, though. Granucci gets fouled, and Whitney is not going to like that. They're going to call a foul on that. Coach French shuts his mouth. No, now he's going to talk to the ref. How are you going to call that and not the other? That's the argument going on right there, Kale.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it maybe should have been a foul, but, I mean, you don't get to argue with the refs. The refs control the game. I mean, if everybody just accepted the refs' call, the game would go sound. But not everybody's going to accept the refs' call. And, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Granucci only made one.
But they have it's a 9-point game with about 50 seconds left to go.
This comes down to, I guess, fortune, because Whitney's got to make, or miss, that is, a lot of free throws, and Roseville's got to make a lot of buckets in only 50 ticks. And the best player on the court is at the line. And he misses the first. That's a good old announcer's greeting, whatever you want to call it. Announcer's blessing. Calling him the best player on the court, and steps up and misses. He got the second. 74-64. Clock didn't start. But apparently waiting for the sub to come into the game, so the clock has got it right. Mancha lost the ball out of bounds, and that will do it.
Yeah, that I think the Tigers, the point deficit is too great. There's not enough time on the clock for them to get back. Their defense is proving time and time again that they can't hold this Whitney offense to a standstill. The defense is just it's not good enough to penetrate. The Whitney offense is penetrating the defense. It's over.
Cirencione gets a steal, takes it inside, banks it in with 33 seconds. Timeout Roseville. 8-point game with 33 seconds. You're still really
it's
trying to find the needle in the haystack here. I mean,
it's very far-fetched.
This game, yeah, the W is that needle. The game is that haystack. And yeah, that's just what it is right now.
But it can be done.
We've seen it. We've seen Tracy McGrady, 13 points in 35 seconds, I believe.
If you watch the Super Bowl.
Oh boy, Gil, here we go.
It can be done. 25-3. How do you blow that lead? Tell me, Josh, how do you blow a 25-point lead in the Super Bowl?
Well, look, I will make the case that if this game is blown by Whitney, it will be the equivalent of blowing that 25-point lead in the Super Bowl. I can make that case and punch it down for you right now.
During the Super Bowl, a statistic came out saying that the Falcons, when they went up to the 25-point lead, had a 99.4% chance of winning.
Yep.
And the Patriots took a hold of that 0.6% and won the Super Bowl. That's amazing.
I think I saw something like 96.4, but I don't know. It was something. It was something in the high 90s. 74-66, 30 seconds.
Anyway,
31.
back to the
that
basketball
is. Yep.
game.
Yep. That we got to stay on track here. Foul. O'Hara to the line.
Good analogy, though. Yeah, Josh. If O'Hara makes these free throws, I think the ball game's over. The point deficit's too great, and nothing seems to be working for you.
Well, Whitney came in here tonight, and man, Roseville's kept this game close, proving that Roseville played. I think they legitimately played a good, and not keep the emphasis on good. They played a good game out here tonight.
Yeah.
But Whitney was just, I just really believe Whitney is the better team.
Yeah.
To be honest, their players overall are better. They play better together. They are a better team. They have more weapons that could do more. They don't have to rely on two main stars, and that's how it goes. Granucci airballs, and I think that could put a stamp on the game, but Roseville's going to look to pressure. And I don't know why they keep fouling. Ten-point game. And Whitney will come in here for the third year in a row and pick up the W. And Roseville had never beaten Whitney in the CVC until that time in January when they beat them in Rockland at Whitney. But tonight is no-go for them. Whitney will come in here on EOTSN in one of the biggest games of the year. I think for both teams, for Whitney to say, hey, we want to prove that last one. That was a fluke. 71-57. That's not the real deal. That's not what we do. They wanted to prove that was not their real team out there on the court tonight, and they did here tonight. Only a 12-point win, but it was convincing. 78-66. The Wildcats come into the Moeller Gym at Roseville High School and beat the Tigers. And we'll take a look at the updated standings now in the Capital Valley Conference. We'll see what this does to the overall Sac Joaquin Section Division II high school basketball playoff prediction. But Whitney will now move to 10-1. We don't know about Ponderosa. We'll have to check in on their game tonight on the next broadcast. Roseville drops to 7-4, and that could put them in a world of hurt too, because Cosumnes Oaks, if they won, 7-4, and that's a tie series there, Roseville Cosumnes. It's really going to be interesting how this comes down the stretch, how it all boils down at the end here. But Whitney, they're going to pick up a win overall, move to 20-4, 10-1 in league. Roseville Overall, they are the number 10 team right now in the whole playoff picture. They will drop to 14-10, 7-4 in league. Well, for this presentation of EOTSN, for Cale Gibson, Sam Toomey for 2 seconds, Connor McKibben, and Josh Carson working the game out here for you tonight. We hope you enjoyed this presentation of Varsity Roseville High School boys basketball. We'll be back on Friday night. Definitely a game you don't want to miss. Friday night, senior night, 7 o'clock. It'll be the Oakmont Vikings here at Roseville High School to take on the Tigers. You get to see all of the members on this team of the class of 2017. You get to see them be honored in their final night. A lot of them have played for Varsity for 3 years. So we hope you enjoyed this presentation. Again, for Connor McKibben, Cale Gibson, Josh Carson, this has been a presentation of EOTSN, and we'll be back on Friday night.